Ranger's second time on stock with me. The first one, I didn't do any work with him before I went into the pen. I just took him straight in to see what he would do. He's kind of a hard dog. First time on stock was a lot of biting, a lot of not listening to pressure, blowing through the paddle. It took quite a few hard corrections. So you could see the very first time I brought him into this pen, he had some intent staring at the sheep. I don't like that. In a small pen, the dog needs to really tone down their pressure. So I went ahead and whacked him right off the bat here. I wanted to do voiceover on this video because I don't think this is one that's going to go over well on the internet without some explanation of what I'm doing and why. I'm very familiar with this dog's pedigree. I own his mother. I trained his father a little bit. I've been present for a lot of the stuff that had to go on with the dad, who's a pretty hard dog. So I knew what kind of potential I had in this litter for producing some harder dogs. The mom is pretty biddable. I mean, she could take a fair amount of pressure, but honestly, you rarely have to touch her with any kind of tool. So number one, I'm trying to get him to give in to pressure. That does mean in some dogs that you're going to have to reach out and touch them. I'm going to give him some time to think. I'm not going to encourage him to reach in here and grab the sheep, but I do want to bring his attention to them. You can see his ears are perked up. He's probably thinking, what are we in here to do? What's going on? So I go ahead and encourage him forward, put a little pressure on his shoulder because he doesn't need to approach the sheep from a straight on position. He needs to arc that shoulder out. So you can see the amount of pressure I have to put on this dog, and when he starts trying to dart around me right away, I'm just going to go ahead and let him know that you do not cross my line. Again, I can be hard on this dog because I know him, I know the pedigree, and he's showing me what is required. So on a dog that just gave in or just tried to avoid that paddle, there is no way I would have hit that dog like that. So I'm going to be hard on him from the start. Slow is good at this point. He needs to be thinking, what can I do to get to these sheep and what's going to win me the opportunity to work? I don't care if he's slow at this point. I'm just going to give him time to think. I'm going to apply pressure when I need to. So I can encourage him forward. A lot of people at this point would start to worry and they would think, oh, this dog doesn't want to work. And they would start trying to grab sheep and trying to encourage the dog to get in there and get it. This is not a dog that I want to encourage that on. I want him to slow down and think, and then I want him to make his move, and all of that needs to be pretty calculated. So you can see he perks up when the sheep switch direction. A little bit of stress there. He's new to me, and I'm new to him, and this is all new, probably giving into pressure. So I'm just going to guide him. I don't like to do that, but that's one of the things that we had to do with his father, was if he froze up, just kind of guide him out of that little freeze up position. So you can see I'm just putting pressure on him, the amount of pressure that he needs to get that shoulder out. And that was nice. So I released the pressure and let him go. So he's got to learn that when I put pressure on him, he just needs to give into it, and then he's going to be free to go. So I put the pressure behind him because I want him to go forward, and then I kind of encourage him forward. He can't turn in on the sheep like that though, see, so I've got to put pressure on his shoulder again. And as soon as he arcs his head out, turns his shoulder out, then I remove the pressure and he's free to go to work. So this is a lot of just him figuring out what's going to get in the sheep. That rush right there, that's not going to get it. So I put that little block in front of him. If he doesn't want to turn off of it, I'm just going to take him by the collar and turn him around. Try to get him to go the other way. So this is kind of one of those, like if you're familiar with the Roy Cox method at all in a small pen and he wants the dog to go corner to corner, this is a little bit of that. It's not about the corners, it's about the mental state and the shoulder of the dog. If the dog's shoulder is out, he can be inside a little bit. He doesn't have to go corner to corner, but he has to have the right attitude and his shoulder has to be out. So I'm going to try the lead here and just see if that maybe makes it a little easier to guide him around versus trying to grab him by the collar. So I just want to keep him going in the same direction. Just because he bites doesn't mean he needs to dart out of that pressure and try to switch directions. I'm not punishing him for biting. If I'm getting on to him at all, it's because he's ignoring the pressure that I put on him. So see how he's turned into the sheep? Anytime he turns into the sheep and he's not in a position to bring them to me, he's taking them away from me. So that's why I'm hard on him about that.
Okay. Wow, you really got me though. Good boy.
So what he's looking to do is just be a predator. If he's not looking to bring them, he's being a predator. And that's what you have to think about. These dogs have teeth. They can do some real damage. Some dogs are not real serious about it, but again, some dogs are, and I just can't let my sheep be abused. See how his shoulder's out and he's nice. But then when his shoulder turns in, I put pressure on him. So as long as he's in the right state of mind, he's trying to figure out how to bring sheep to me, even if he's not actively doing it at the moment, he's free to work. As soon as he turns in, like right there, he's taking those sheep away from me. Now I'm going to switch sides on him because I do think this dog likes to control the heads. He likes to get a hold of the heels too, but he actually will turn in on heads, and he tries to control where the sheep are going. So turning him and letting him go that direction was the better option right there. So I'm just going to try to turn him again. If he doesn't give in to that pressure, I increase the pressure until he turns. I don't want to continue to have to touch this dog with the paddle all the time. But if that's what it takes to get him to turn off, he's got to understand that pressure. So I did help him there. Going to help him again. So his shoulder's in, but he's going a little smooth and he's nice, so I let it go. I can't get 100% perfect in the first work. That's just not going to happen. But I can start to aim for that, especially on a dog like this. This dog, we're going in on 7 minutes here. He's not quit. This dog has never quit.
So he feels like he can't switch sides. Because once he gets going, he does okay.
What I said there was I think he maybe have a little bit of eye, because that's what's kind of sticking him up. He gets focused on the heads, like right here, and it makes him feel like he can't go anywhere. So just call him with me. I try to make this as, as easy as I can. I want to encourage him to go to work, but he's got to follow the rules. So trying to keep my paddle in a pretty neutral position whenever I'm not required to put pressure on him, and then whenever I do have to put pressure on him, see that right there, he had to give in to that. Try to give him time to think and make some decisions as long as his body language is nice. See, he doesn't have to be in the corners. Now, if your dog is running the perimeter and your sheep are just absolutely running wild, then you do need to reinforce those corners. But when the body language is soft and the sheep are calm and the dog's able to get the job done, you can relax a little bit on that.
I feel it, but I can't even begin to fathom getting out of it.
So the lack of response from pressure on this dog is somewhat genetic. His dad is a lot like that.
That's why he doesn't want to go that other way. That's why I can walk up here too.
See, I sent him to the heads that time because he seems to be more free on moving in towards the heads.
Good boy.
So once he gives the pressure, he can go back to work. So this lesson really was more about this dog giving to pressure and realizing what the rules are and that he's not going to get to work than it was about getting him to actually work the stock. I can't do this without stock because if I was out in the pen with no stock, he would give in to pressure a little bit easier. He doesn't have that prey drive when there's nothing to have prey drive over. So you do have to do this on stock, unfortunately. Teaching them how to respond to pressure off stock helps because they know what to expect when you start to apply pressure to them, but there's no substitute for doing this on stock. So see, as soon as he makes even the slightest move away from me, I release the pressure. Even though he's not going yet, he's got to understand how to turn that pressure off. And here I'm probably about to get onto him for the heel grabbing because what's happening is he's getting to the other side of stock and he's realizing that he thinks I can't get him from out there. So he's just going to stay out there and bite, bite, bite. And I'm trying not to get onto him too hard, but then here he goes. So that's his true self coming out right there. So then I have to come down on him pretty hard and get him stopped, and then I can redirect him. So that's where I would start really reinforcing that getting out off the stock and walking the perimeter instead of letting this dog work, because once he gets out there, he realizes that I can't reach him and that he can just bite, bite, bite and do what he wants.
Probably close to 10 minutes. It's been a while. And he's not, you know, he was confused, but he didn't offer to quit any. No. And he still wants to work. If you give him the opportunity to be bad, he will. Yeah.
So again, I think voiceover worked better on this video because this is a harder dog. This is more dog than I see quite a bit in training. So I do think some people maybe are a little bit soft and they don't want to push through that when the dog is a little bit pouty or it kind of freezes up because it's not sure. And I wanted to show that a little bit because I do think that this dog has got that in him a little bit, but I do also think he'll get over it when he starts to understand pressure and release.